If you're a WordPress user, you might be considering LearnDash as a tool to create and sell your own online courses. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you what it looks like, take you behind the scenes to install the plugin and then create a course, and hopefully help you decide if it's the right fit for your business. Hey, I'm Melissa, and welcome back to Wit and Wire, where we help creators turn their skills and passions into profitable online businesses. LearnDash is one of the most popular WordPress plugins on the market for course creators. So I'm excited to bring you behind the scenes to help you evaluate the tool and see what it can do. The first step is to choose your LearnDash solution, and there are two different options. On the left, you can see LearnDash Cloud, which includes hosting. It's a monthly subscription, and it's a good fit if you're a business owner starting your website from scratch, or if you already have a website but prefer to build your courses on a separate domain. On the other hand, on the right side, we have the LMS Plugin. This is for you if you already have a WordPress site and you're looking for a plugin to install so that you can seamlessly add courses to your online business. I'm going to show you both during this tutorial, but I'm going to start with the plugin. So if you head to witandwire.com/LearnDash, you can choose your plan. Here you'll find both options, but I'm going to click Get LearnDash LMS for the $199 a year option for just one site. And after checkout, I'll meet you in the account dashboard. After purchase, you'll get an email with your LearnDash key, and you'll also see it here in your LearnDash account. You'll need this when we do the install on your site. And the other thing that you'll need is the Downloads tab. You'll need to click Download on the plugin at the top. Once you have both your LearnDash key and the download for the plugin, we'll head over to your WordPress site, log in as usual, and I'll meet you over there. Now that I logged into my own WordPress site, I'm here under Plugins, and we're going to click Add New. You'll click Upload Plugin, and this is where you can click to choose a file from your computer, or mine happened to download right here. I can drag and drop it in and click Install Now. You can see on the next page it's been confirmed, and I'll click Activate Plugin to move forward into the Setup Wizard. The next step is to configure your new LearnDash plugin with the Setup Wizard. This is going to guide you through a few questions, and let me just show you what it looks like. So I'm going to click Get Started, and then this is where you need to enter the email address and the license key that you use to make your purchase. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and click Validate. When you click Validate, you should see green text that says your license is valid, and then it's up to you if you keep communications on from LearnDash to get updates or say no, and then you'll click Next on the bottom right. Here you'll tell LearnDash how many courses you're planning to create. And I would recommend choosing multiple. These are not permanent decisions, so I wouldn't worry too much. And then you can tell them what types of courses you might plan to have. You may only know for now that you're creating a simple course, a straightforward video or text-based course. But if you know you'll need a certificate, timed courses, or a group course, you might check a couple of these as well. So maybe for now, I'll include a simple course and a group course, and I'll say that the groups are going to be private, only to paid students, and that I will be the one leading those group courses. Once you're happy with these settings, you'll go ahead and click Next. I am going to recommend that you choose Yes here. You want to charge for your courses, and then it's up to you if you want to accept payments through Stripe or WooCommerce. If you are already using WooCommerce for your business, it could make sense to click that. But if you are not using WooCommerce, I would recommend that you use Stripe to keep things simple and to not add another plugin to your WordPress site. So I'm going to click Stripe, and then I'm going to skip connecting it for now, but I am going to put US dollars here since that's the currency that I use, and I'm going to go ahead and click Next. This is going to tell me what pages LearnDash is automatically going to apply to my account. So you can see a list of all of the settings being updated. You could decide to toggle some of these on or off. It's up to you. You can also decide if you need these add-ons. So I know for me, I don't usually use certificates, but I'm going to showcase that in this tutorial, so I'll keep it on. Same thing, I like the course grid, but I'm going to keep WooCommerce turned off because I'm not using that for my business. And once I'm ready, I'll click Save and Complete to close the Setup Wizard. So here on the left, you can see the LearnDash LMS plugin, and there are quite a few options under the submenu. But I want to start by focusing on this top section. So you can see you can add courses, lessons, and topics, and I want to talk about the hierarchy. A course is a sellable digital product. It is a grouping of lessons that can be grouped into sections, and this is, I would think of it as like the main entity. I think that we all know what a course is. It's lessons and topics that get a little more interesting. So in LearnDash, a lesson is a set of content. It can include video, text, a resource. It can include a mix. But then within a lesson, you can also have topics. And that is atypical for course builders. Usually it's just a one-level hierarchy. And I would say for most of you, I am guessing that you only need to use courses and lessons, and I'll show you how to group those lessons into subcategories. So I personally don't utilize topics very often. I'm going to stick with these two for now. To start, we'll click courses and we will add our first course. You can click here to add your first course, or on the top right, you can add a new course anytime. This brings up the WordPress builder, and I'm going to give our course a title. I'll be building a shortened version of my signature course builders. So option 1 is you could leave this here, set this up as your container, and then head over to lessons. But what I like to do is use this submenu on the top to head over to builder, and I like to create my outline here. First, I want to add a new section header, and maybe I'll call this profitable idea, and click add section heading. Section headings are text only. Think of this as the label. So this is going to be the label for a bucket of related lessons. So let me add a new lesson. I'm going to call this the bridge theory and click add lesson. It automatically puts it under the section header where we're working. And I'm going to add a couple of additional lessons to fill out this section. Now I've added 6 different lessons, and you could drag them around to reorder them. You could also click the pencil icon if you needed to relabel them. And we will shortly actually go into a lesson to add some content. I would likely continue on outlining my course. So I'm just going to add one more new section heading. We'll call this planning. And then you'll see it just kind of put it right in the middle. I want to move this down to the bottom. And then I'll just add a couple of additional lessons to this section. This should be plenty of lessons for our demo. So you can see if you click this down icon, this would give you the option to add new topics or quizzes, but that's not what we want. We actually want to go into this lesson and add content like videos or PDFs. So I'm going to click edit. It's noteworthy that you'll first need to either save the draft or hit publish. So I've just saved this, and now we can click edit to head into the first lesson. This is what the lesson editor looks like. It's the same as creating a blog post in WordPress. But before we add content, I'm actually going to click back to lessons because I want to reorient where we've landed in LearnDash. You can see now that we are in the lessons submenu on the left, but previously we started in the courses menu. So this is where we added the course. Then we utilized the builder to add all of these lessons, and they've automatically been assigned to the course that we're working on. So it's my preferred workflow to start from the course, add lessons from there, and then head into editing. But some people prefer to add lessons here. What's nice about LearnDash is the fact that you can assign lessons to multiple courses. So I think that's why it's been built this way. And I do think that that's a great feature for some course builders. So with that in mind, I am going to head back into the lesson that we were editing, which should be the first one here. And let's click edit to go back into the lesson editor. Like I said before, this is very familiar to building posts in WordPress. And for most of us, lessons are going to contain videos. So I want to talk about the 2 ways you can add videos to your LearnDash course. The first strategy is to add a video block. So if you search for video, it comes up here, and you have 2 options to either upload a video or insert from URL. I would strongly recommend that you insert from a URL, and here's why. If you upload videos to your WordPress site, that means that your site has to host those files, and videos are big files. So the more videos you add, the more potential it has to slow your site down. That's why instead I recommend a tool like Vimeo or Loom to host your videos, and then you would be embedding it based on that URL. So here you could paste the URL. If you are a bit tech savvy or you know how to do embeds, perhaps you would be searching for the embed block or even HTML, depending on where your videos are hosted. But for now, just for ease of use, I'm going to go ahead and keep the video block, and I'm going to insert from URL. So let me grab one onto my clipboard. Let's insert from URL. And you can see this is going to embed a video that I happened to create in Loom. And if I wanted to, you can continue adding blocks. If you needed to add text below the video, you could. Maybe for now, I'll just say complete and continue on to the next lesson, because this one doesn't have a corresponding workbook or exercise. But I'm going to click update here. But now I want to show you a different lesson that has both a video and potentially a downloadable resource. Here's the next lesson in the course, and let's add a video and then add a downloadable resource. So it starts off the same way. I'm going to add a video, insert it from a URL, paste this here, and then down below, let's add another block and add a paragraph. Let's first just add some text with the action item. So let me copy and paste some text. Here you can see I've not only included an exercise, but also an optional exercise, which is a Google Doc, and you can just hyperlink Google Docs right here within the paragraph. That's my preferred method of creating resources in a lot of Wit and Wires programs, but I do include some PDFs too. So let me show you the best way to do that in LearnDash. First, let's go ahead and click Update to save all of those changes. And then we're gonna head into the settings on the top menu, and you can see scrolling up, you have the opportunity to add lesson materials. Here, you can add media. And I know before I did not recommend hosting things like videos on your WordPress site, but I imagine you might just have a couple of PDFs and those files are much smaller than videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a media file. Now I've actually already included the PDF I wanna use. So I'm gonna click the course creation toolkit and insert it into this post. Now you can see it's listed here. You could change the text if needed, but I'm gonna go ahead and click Update to lock that in. While we're here, you can also see some per lesson settings in LearnDash. You might choose to upload assignments. You might choose a forced timer if you wanted this lesson to expire. And you can see that there are options for lesson release schedule if you didn't want it to be immediate. And you might even have some additional descriptions that you can include. I'm not going to dive too deeply into these settings, but I think it's good to know that it's here and that you can toggle back and forth between the lesson page where the content lives and the settings. Now that we've added a couple of lessons, I'm going to continue just adding videos and text to the rest of the lessons in this subsection, and then I'm going to show you a preview of what it looks like. Okay, I didn't update all the lessons, but I added a few more, and now I'm under courses, and we're going to head back into course builders. Remember, this main page still won't look like too much, but under the builder, we added these lessons and now we've added some videos and content to some of those lessons. And I'm gonna click preview so that we can see this in a new tab. Here you can see what the course looks like. And my best tip is to remember that this is a page on your WordPress site. So it is gated behind a login, but you can see the header at the top, the title of the course is the page title. Here are all the lessons we'll click into in a second. And here's my standard footer at the bottom. So the reason why it is formatted this way with this font is because it is taking on the pre-existing theme of the WordPress site. Now, let me click into the first lesson and you can see, right, this is the section header. It's not a lesson, it's just a label. And this is what an individual lesson looks like. Here's the video that I embedded. Here's the text on the bottom. And you can see as a student, I can mark it as complete, head back to the course, or go on to the next lesson. These colors preset by my WordPress theme decisions that were made site-wide. But let's click next lesson and go on to the next one. Here, this one looks a little bit different. You can see the same concept, the video, I've got text below it, but I also have a materials tab because this is where I put that PDF before. So if you like these two different tabs, you can use this. If you wanted it to appear below the video, you could hyperlink to it because as you can see here, this is just a link to a file in your WordPress media library. So I like this view. I think that it's nice that it's above the video. It's very clear to students, but you do have options. So I'll go ahead and click just next to one more video. You can see that your students could continue moving forward, or they can use the breadcrumbs at the top. So if they click Course Builders, it'll bring them back to the main landing page of your course. Now, if you wanted to include more at the top, you could actually utilize this page. So if you had any announcements or if you wanted to share other links, you could include it here. So let me say, welcome everyone. Just to give a quick example, we'll click Save Draft. Here you can see that text has been added at the top. So hopefully that sparks some ideas of ways that you could utilize this space. I'm gonna head back into the dashboard because I wanna talk about course settings. This is a crucial piece of building in LearnDash, so let's talk about some of these options. The first is access mode. Right now, this course is not protected, so anyone could see it on my WordPress site, just like anyone can see the About page on my site. What you most likely want to do is change this to Buy Now and set a price and an enrollment URL. As the tooltip suggests, this is the URL where people who are not signed in can go to purchase the course. So this should be the sales page of your course, which you can also build in WordPress under the regular pages section. Scrolling down, you may also decide that your course expires. Maybe if somebody joins, they have access to it for a set amount of time. I don't typically use that feature, but I think it's good to know about. Scrolling down further, you might decide to go through some more of these settings, but the one I really wanted to point out was linear versus freeform in the navigation. So if it's linear, your student must go through the course in order. But if it's freeform, they can move about in any direction, they can skip around. And I tend to opt for freeform because if students want to skip ahead, I tend to give them that option. You may also remember at the per lesson level under the lesson settings, you had the opportunity to decide when lessons were released, if that's of interest to you. But I think those are two of the most important settings. The short description is utilized in a few different places, so you might want to come in here and check that out. But otherwise, I think this would be all of the essentials under the settings page that I had hoped to cover before we move on to the next step. Up next, let's talk about quizzes. If you'd like, you could include quizzes in your course to check for student understanding. And similar to before, you remember how we added a course and then we added lessons? Same thing on the side, you can see you can add a quiz and then you can also add questions, which enables you to use questions in different quizzes, I believe. So I'm gonna just briefly talk about this. It's not a feature that I utilize very often. For some business owners, it's crucial. For others, maybe not as much. But we're going to call this sample quiz. And then you can click builder on the top to add new questions. So this is the way that I would build out my quiz. I would add question 1. And you can see it's giving me an alert because I haven't added any answers yet. So we can go with a bit of a softball. Who is teaching this video? And then you can add a few answers below. We'll add my own name and then add this as the correct answer. And then perhaps we will add another name like Elissa. And that would be the incorrect answer, perhaps my alter ego. So you could continue adding questions, but just to show you what it looks like, let's preview this in a new tab. Here is our short and sweet sample quiz. I can click Melissa and finish the quiz. They are recording my results, and I can see that it's been answered correctly. Now this is just showing the quiz on a single page, but let's head back into the dashboard so I can show you how you can add it to the course. Here we are back in the course we've been working on. So if I head into the builder, now I can see the quiz that I created on the side, and you can choose a lesson. Maybe we'll choose the bridge theory. And if you add it, now you can see it appears here. So let me go ahead and preview this in a new tab and I'll show you what it looks like. The bridge theory, you can see it now includes a quiz. So you can either expand it and you would see a lesson and the sample quiz, or if you scroll below the video, you can see the quiz listed right here. Remember, I called it sample quiz. You would call it something a little bit more descriptive, but here your students could click start quiz, choose the right answer. Maybe let's get it wrong, see what happens. 0 of 1 points for me today. They can restart the quiz. This is just a check for understanding, but you do get to collect that data in your LearnDash plugin. Just to give you a brief overview, back in the plugin, there is a tab called Reports where you can export user data or quiz data. And as I mentioned before, they do have the more advanced Pro Panel add-on plugin if you're looking for more in-depth analytics. Next, let's add a certificate. So on the left, I can see the certificates submenu. And during the LearnDash setup wizard, you may remember we were asked if we wanted to include certificates, and I said yes. So this was included automatically. But heading over to the plugins in my site, you can see that that setup wizard actually installed 4 different plugins. These are the 2 core plugins. And then I also indicated that I wanted Certificate Builder and the Course Grid. So these were added as well. But if you don't see certificates in your version of LearnDash, you'll just need to make sure that this has been activated and the settings are turned on. So let's head back over to certificates and let's add a new one. On the top right, I'll click Add New Certificate. Then on the next page, you'll give it a title. So I'll call this Certified Awesome. And then because we've activated the plugin, you can click Use Certificate Builder. To start, we're going to give it that same title. So I'm going to call it Certified Awesome. And then the most crucial part of certificate creation is adding the background. This is something that you'll create in Canva or another design platform, but I went ahead and designed the background. And you'll want to leave out any personalized info like their name, because that we're going to include right here in the builder. So first, let me go ahead and grab that background image. It happens to just be off to the side, so I'm going to drag and drop it in. Now the image has uploaded, and we can see that I've left a space here for the student's name, so that's what we're going to add. So you can see at the top, there's a small black plus sign, and this is maybe not the most intuitive first step, but what we actually need to do first is add a spacer. So I'm gonna add this spacer, I'm gonna pull it down to about here. Then I'm gonna add another block, and this is where I would recommend searching for LearnDash so that it shows you your 4 options. You can add course info, quiz info, or group info, but the one I'm gonna use is user meta. That includes info about the student. So you can see it's adding it here. This says user login on the right, but what I really want is user first and last name. And I'm going to want this to be much bigger. So let's make this 100. That's looking a little better. Maybe it's a bit big. Let's do 90. And then let's center the text. I'm going to go ahead and save this draft. And then we're going to preview it in a new window so you can see what it looks like. So let's click Preview in New tab. Here you can see a preview of the finished certificate. We've got the username in the middle and the background here. I imagine this like printing out a bunch of certificates and then writing students' names on it. That's how you can think of creating the background versus what you would be adding with user metadata. Next, let's talk about customizing your site appearance. You may have noticed on the Setup tab that I did not click Select a Starter Template. And the reason why is because this would overwrite my current theme. So if you're starting a WordPress site from scratch, it might make sense to choose one of these templates. And if you are starting a new site or looking for a template, I do love these cadence themes. You can check them out at witandwire.com/cadence. They're one of my favorite WordPress themes and site builders, but I'm going to go ahead and click Exit. I already have my Wit and Wire branding set, so this decision doesn't make sense for me. So just ask yourself, does my WordPress site have a theme? If yes, don't click here. If no, if you're starting from scratch, this could be a great option. But you still might be wondering, how can I customize a little bit of the look and feel of the site? And we're going to do that under Settings. Under Settings, the first tab is called General, and you can see the very first section is called Design and Content Elements. This is where you could change the accent color or progress color in your site. So I'm just going to change this to show you what it looks like. So maybe we'll do this blue today, and I'll go ahead and click Save, and then I'm going to open the Course Builders program we've been working on in a separate tab to show you what it looks like. Here I can see the new accent color off to the side, and it's even more predominant when you click on it to see how it shows up in the lesson. You can see the hyperlinks are blue, and then when I click into the lesson, the text at the top, the In Progress button, below the lesson, back to course, all of those accents have been updated. So you can change that in the LearnDash settings, but as you can tell, the fonts at the top, a lot of the decisions that set the branding have been made at a site-wide level for the entire WordPress site, so I think that's important to keep in mind. If you are building a new site from scratch, or if you prefer that your course live on a separate website that can have its own theme and customization, then LearnDash Cloud might be a fit for you. So I'm going to head back to witandwire.com/LearnDash, and I'm going to go here to get LearnDash Cloud and show you what that looks like. After checkout, you'll be brought into your account. And here I can see this took a few minutes to populate, but now I have a brand new WordPress site, and I'm going to click Auto Login Admin so that I can head into the dashboard. Just like the plugin, LearnDash Cloud has a setup wizard to help you get started. And I'm not going to show the whole thing since there's a lot of overlap, but when you click Get Started, you'll notice the first two pages are different. First, you'll be prompted to set a password because this is a fully new website and you, the admin, need a login. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and click Next. On the next page, you'll add your site name, possibly a tagline, it's optional, and a logo, but any of this can be changed later. So let's go ahead and click Next. Here you'll see familiar questions that mirror what we already did with the plugin. So I'm just going to finish the setup and I'll meet you in the dashboard. In this case, we already finished the setup, and I am going to go ahead and select a starter template because this website is being built from scratch. So we need something to get started. And I'm drawn to this colorful option. I'm going to click Preview. This is a great theme that looks like it was built for course creators, which is perfect. So I'm going to close this, click Select, and then click Next. Here we're going to choose our fonts. This can all be changed later. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick an option. I'm going to pick maybe this one and click Next. You can also choose some colors and then click Next. About a minute later and our site is ready to go. So by the way, whether you use LearnDash Cloud or you're just interested in a great lightweight theme for your WordPress site, I personally use and love Cadence, so you can check them out at witandwire.com/cadence. For now, let's click Visit Site to see what it looks like in a new tab. Again, this is a template. This is not my photo, obviously. These are all pieces of text that came included in the template. We have not done anything to customize it yet, but you can see just out of the box the difference between the plugin and LearnDash Cloud. This has created an entire site that I can now start to customize, and it's integrated already with the plugin, whereas before I added the plugin to my existing site where I already had pages. So let's head back into the dashboard. And since we've already gone through a few of the essentials here under the LMS tool, like courses and lessons, we've covered certificates, we'd cover some of the settings. What I want to just show you is what you can find under LearnDash Cloud It'll just bring you back to the knowledge base with a ton of additional resources if you are interested in using this for your site. And then if you head under pages, just as you would under any WordPress site, this is where all of those new pages live. So if you wanted to edit the homepage, you would click here, it'll bring up the page builder, and now you have the power of cadence blocks in addition to the WordPress native functionality, where you can edit this text, change out the photos. You can see Cadence's extended design library of additional sections, starter packs, and something I really like called wireframes, where they give you almost like a clean slate of suggested arrangements of blocks. These are all now built into your LearnDash cloud site. By the way, if you are interested in creating and selling online courses, I do have a free guide with all of my recommended tools and equipment for course creators at any budget. So you can download that guide for free at witandwire.com/course toolkit, or you'll find a link in the description. To get started with LearnDash, you'll visit witandwire.com/LearnDash. And if you found this video helpful, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to Wit and Wire for more online business tips. Since you're here, if you found this video helpful, here's another one that I think you might enjoy.